Hello everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here. We are back with another One Leeds episode. We're back here to discuss the mighty Whites, exactly what's going on with Leeds at the minute. I want to get your thoughts. You guys constantly hear my thoughts, and I'd like to hear, in the comment section below exactly what you're feeling with regards to the new season. 12 days until Cardiff. The transfer window ends obviously September 6th. Leeds, obviously yesterday, looks like Borussia Mönchengladbach are going to get their hands on Verba. How many players do you think out of the loan departures are actually going to get value next season? I think probably you're looking at Verba, maybe Mark Roca, potentially if he does well in Europe with Betis. So a lot to get through. I want to get your thoughts on who you would be targeting as well as Leeds signings. And I want this to be a little bit of a fan forum as well. We did this a few weeks ago and a lot of you guys loved it as well. So I'm going to be commenting obviously on everything you say, but there's going to be a little bit more of a fan focus as well. Before I start, I know what's going to happen. I've got football soon, and I'm a big fan of collecting football shirts. Listen, I'm not a Torino fan. This isn't red. It's burgundy. Disclaimer, it's burgundy, all right? There's nothing red in my flat. Don't you worry about that one. But I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Evening, Connor, from Glorious Ghoul. Hello, Mr. Anthrop. Evening, Connor. Too much red up. Burgundy. Burgundy, JB, Burgundy. Check out the Torino colours, I promise. One Torino Fan Channel. Evening, mate. Hiya, Pip. When are we getting loan players to replace players being loaned out? Hit like, yeah, if you would, everyone, that'd be fantastic. Just liking the video before we get going this evening. That will be absolutely fantastic. Just gets the algorithm up as well. We've got something special that I think he's going to be coming to, and I can literally only do it on the Patreon account, everybody. So I'm pigeoning it in for Friday and a Friday upload. I cannot put it on the main channel, can't do it for certain reasons. But yeah, I'm just going to be doing hopefully a new weekly series that is going to be uploaded behind the paywall on Patreon. Guys, anything you put towards the channel goes straight back into the running of the channel. So if you want to get that content, I'll update you on sort of Wednesday what it is actually going to be. But yeah, it's me sort of in studio. That's what I'm hoping for. And yeah, it's going to be behind the paywall and all this sort of stuff for very certain reasons. So if you want some bonus content, check it out. Right. Kieran says, let's hope Sam Byram doesn't block a Charlie Taylor move. That would be very Leeds, wouldn't it? We're doomed until we see who we get. The outcome is grim. NE incomings close. No, it doesn't look like it at the minute. I mean, Phil reported this morning, The Athletic reported this morning that Leeds are looking at a new goalkeeper, which, okay, you're probably looking at Freddie Woodman, Angus Gunn, or Caldalo. Wouldn't be my preferred choices. Probably, I mean, if I'm looking at that three, I'm looking at Freddie Woodman, probably just because of his age and how when he was at Swansea, we'd watch him quite a lot, being able to pass out from the back and being decent from the back. But yeah, and listen, the goalkeeper is very important, very important. I think from what we derived the other day, the positives are, I thought Yelder's really good. I think Yelder's going to be really good this season for Leeds. Pascal Struijk, another one who is so in and out, and this is a problem with Struijk. He has good games and then he has terrible months. But what I saw the other day against Monaco, against that very high-level team, was a very, very good Pascal Struijk, especially on the ball. I thought he was excellent. So that side of things I'm okay with. Liam Cooper being sort of second in reserve there. The right side centre-back, I think, needs strengthening, buffering up 100%. I think it needs it at the minute. I'm sort of not convinced with that side at all at the minute. So, but overall that was positive. Byram, I'm very much against, as you guys know, as a starter, but as a rotation option, as if we develop wing backs, that's fine. What about Farke'S old players who have got him success? Previously when we're looking at left backs, it doesn't have to be a Charlie Taylor. If you guys and everyone is against the Charlie Taylor. What about a Jamal Lewis? What about something like that? What about a player like that who's young, who could fit in at Leeds at left back? Potential transfer for him or a loan. Somewhere where Farke'S got a link and that transfer could probably be done quite easily. He's been out of favour, hasn't he? So something like that. And I just think Leeds still need a fair few players. I don't really think there's a balance in the midfield, to be honest, and that's a worry for me. And I think stuff needs to happen at the back. Stuff needs to happen at the back. I'm 14, Connor, but I love your videos portraying Pogba. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate that. It's a very nice comment from yourself. Do you know anything about Eweek? Please, Connor. I do not, mate. I know he's in. Presumably, is this the new player we've been linked with? I know absolutely nothing about him, mate. I'm not going to pretend to. Anyone? Yeah, I've seen this just recently. Actually, anyone know if Jack has a loan agreement? I don't think he has. Yelder isn't attacking minded for my liking, Connor. Yeah, I agree, Hisham. I mean, when you're talking about a profile for a left back, that's not who you want, is it? It's not who you want. For me, Yelder. He's proficient enough. I think it's a decent one. I'm just not 100%. I'd want him. Is he going to be a high flying left back? Someone who's natural in that position? He's not. For all the good movements he makes, for all the intelligent plays he makes, and how aware he is on a football field, and how intelligent he is on a football. Very high football IQ, by the way. You guys know I love that stuff. Someone who can actually read the game and isn't brain dead. That's not to say the rest of these players are, by the way, but some of them have been in the past. Simple decision making. But that left back spot has to be a natural left back for me. There has to be a natural left back there. Yelder, I'm looking more as a left centre back to add depth there, and when needed, maybe coming in as vice left back. Harrison, a 16 million release clause. Yeah, I've seen all this sort of stuff about loans. There's no way they've got a loan clause in Jack Harrison's contract. I wouldn't worry about that. What about Jamal Lewis? Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, mate. JB and Adams in the Championship. Come on, that's quality. And Jet Gray is back up. It is. What if one of them gets injured? And then what? Well, one of them is injured. You got Ethan Ampadu in there, who's 22. We're looking at Archie Gray or Darko JB in there as 18, 19-year-olds. Obviously, Gray's a little bit younger, isn't he? Is that the depth? And that's hopefully saying that Adams doesn't go in this transfer window, which is still likely. You would say on a scale it's likely that he's still going to go. If he doesn't go, fantastic. But we've got to look at depth. I'm hearing when we're looking at depth, there's a lot of youngsters. Now, if you're going in a promotion charge with Southampton and Leicester, who, listen, I'm not saying they're going to fly away with it. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But they have got experience, especially in midfield, and quality in midfield. I'm not saying Leeds don't have quality, but surely you need a bit of experience in there as well. But then, reverting back to quality, you have to have quality and depth as well. Experience and quality to be able to win games. It's just weird how the narratives change. We're all talking at the start of the window about Hamer. We're all talking at the start of the window about Lewis O'Brien, Glenn Kamara, players like this. Who, we were all really excited about getting in, acquiring a bit of a balance in the midfield. Suddenly, the narrative spun a little bit, and everybody's turning around and saying, no, we don't actually need anybody in the midfield. And it's because there's not been a lot that's come out from the club. We don't know even if we're after a central midfielder, are we? Are we not? From what Farke was saying after the first pre-season friendly, it's early on in the transfer window. There's a lot to consider here. There really is a lot to consider. Luke says, Connor, I'm with you on things are concerned right now. We don't have the squad currently to challenge for promotion, not balanced. That's my problem, mate, I think, at the minute. Yeah, mate, Forza Torino. I am, my friend. I've drank it I'd encourage anyone to get on it as well. I've drank it for a while now. And who was my inspiration? Who do you reckon was my inspiration? If nobody's heard of yerba mate, it is a South American drink. Big up the South American followers. See this? Look at this. I came prepared, everybody. Good for mate. Flask of hot water for mate. If any of you are on a health kick at the minute, it's well worth it. The South American drink that has made its way to European shores. It's fantastic. And Purdue, hey, Share. Yeah, Share's another one I saw. I don't know if you guys saw, but QPR nearly scored a team goal the other day, which was unbelievable. They nearly scored a fantastic goal, and Willock was fully involved in it, and Share was just, he's got the buendias about him, Elias Share. He's just absolutely perfect for what Leeds United would need, Elias Share. Absolutely perfect. And I just look at him and think, God, man, in an ideal world. But we've seen the Mail, I think it's Mike again, has been reporting that Yoel Perot is available for 15 million. There is an argument, since I believe Perot's got 41 goals in 82 games. It's like one goal in every 2 games. I think his record is in the Championship. He knows the division well. There is an argument now that whichever one out of us, Leicester or Southampton, gets Yoel Perot, there is an argument that team wins the league. Because, you know, if you sort of bank in the ratio of goals that he's got in the last 2 seasons, it's going to get you close to the title, isn't it? Let's have a look at some. Where do you stand on Byram in the building? I don't mind as long as he's not starting. And I don't care if he has 1 or 2 good games and he puts some nice crosses in and Leeds fans are getting excited because he's better than Junior Firpo, who's not a measure. I think Byram's okay. He's very average. And you'd ask any West Ham fan, any Norwich fan, they'd say the exact same thing. He was average when he was at Leeds. He was just one of the better players out of a bad bunch, and he had a bit of a spurt, and then everyone got on top of it because everyone else in the team was completely shite. But yeah, he's okay. He's a very okay footballer, and he's never really hit those dizzy heights that us as fans projected for him. I mean, I never did, but a lot of fans did project for him. You know, that cohort of Taylor, Mowat, Byram, and Cook. You know, all I'm saying is Cook and Taylor did go to my school. What a football team we had, everybody. Obviously not in the same year, but yeah, there was only 2 for me out of that crop who were ever reaching the top, and it was those 2 who went to my school. Hi, Connor. We just need a solid at the back as the first game. Televised. Yeah, Daniel, we do need to be solid at the back, 100%. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'd go with that. Don't know, mate. Maybe by the phone, waiting. Yeah. Cozy LUFC. Now you're speaking my language, my friend. Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob is a player. Listen, he was going in my list. He was going in my list at the start of the season, Oscar Bob, but I got a tip off. Guardiola was not going to let him go. Player of the season for the last 2 seasons in the Man City development squad. What a player he is. Listen, if Pep's all about loaning him out and he doesn't want him to go to a Premier League club, Oscar Bob would be an unbelievable signing. Guys, remember that name. He's literally going to be at the top of the game very, very soon. Norwegian winger quality. So yeah, Oscar Bob, yeah. What? Yeah, Oscar Bob, the name alone as well. Paul, this is where I'm at as well. We need a goalkeeper, left back, CH. Am I going nuts? CH. Central midfielder, 10 and 9. Otherwise, rough season. Calgary White. Yeah. Is that centre half? Centre half. That's it, isn't it? Sorry, mate. I'm used to saying centre back. Goalkeeper, yeah, we do. We need a second goalkeeper. Need a left back. We don't have a left back at the minute. Centre half, need a right-sided centre half. 100%. I mean, we've got rid of, well, we haven't got rid of, but we've loaned out Verba, Koch, Llorente, who wasn't featuring, to be fair, anyway, and Rasmus, who wasn't a centre back but could fill in there. You know, you've got 3 centre backs there, isn't there? You've got rid of, and then we won't replace one. You've got to replace one of them. You know, even you got to think of how many were in the first team. You know, Koch and Verba were sort of featuring fairly regularly, weren't they, for Leeds last season? So yeah, a CM for me. This is it. This is what I don't understand, everyone. This is why I wanted to do a bit of a fan react. Is there any of you who think we're fine right now? Because I think Paul's on the money. This, I promise you, God, this is so. I think the frustrating aspect of this thing is when you call out things that are factual in terms of us losing players. That objectively, Leeds have lost players, and we need to replenish those players lost, and we need to replenish the squad as well, because the fusion was lost last year. The spark was gone when Bielsa left, and even when Bielsa was there, you need new faces in that side. Ampadu's a great start. but you need new faces. You need quality within that side. Is anybody in the chat, let me know, do you honestly think with this side right now, and maybe a goalkeeper who we're rumoured to be getting, aren't we? So let's say that we'll chalk off a goalkeeper. With this side right now, I know there's a long way to go in the window, but is this side really finishing in the top 6? Do we think so? I mean, Sinistera, Nonto, massive in the Championship. For me, it needs more at the back. And I know there's probably a lot of people who are going to go, Adams, Ampadu, unbelievable. Yeah, and I think if I'm really thinking about it and maybe scrutinising the side right now, I'd maybe say 6th to 8th finishing. If I'm being honest, 6th to 8th. There's no way this side at the minute, in my opinion, touches the top 2. No way. I think the Championship's going to be much stronger this year. I do. And look at the teams that have come down. Obviously, we've come down. But you've got 2 staples in the Premier League over the last 10 years who over years and years and years and years have been able to accrue depth, quality and depth. And some of that depth will go, 100%, but they will retain some of that depth as well because maybe there's not suitors, maybe other teams won't find the valuation for those players. The weakness Leeds have at the minute is we weren't in the Premier League long enough to establish ourselves and accrue that depth. Happy to say top 10 go again following seasons. Michael doesn't reckon we'll get near the top 6. The kids could do it. That's not. It is burgundy, mate. Go check out the Torino colours. Literally put it in now online. Gee, don't be saying this is red, mate. I don't own red. Mediocrity in the Championship is the best I'm hoping for after the last year. Close to relegation then promotion. Sam says we need a big clear out. In my opinion, the team for Cardiff is the one that played against Monaco. I agree. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think Archie Gray starts, if I'm honest. I mean, if Archie Gray starts, listen, if you're good enough, you're old enough, whatever they say. But I don't think he will be starting for Leeds pretty regularly, to be honest. But yeah, I think that is going to be the team. And that's going to be the team we're looking at. Connor, if Leeds got Perot, Ross Stewart, unbelievable. I think if Gelhardt had have gone, and this was the original plan for Sunderland, by the way, if Gelhardt had have gone to Sunderland and Ross Stewart was fit and they were playing a front 2, which Mowbray would have done, little and large, he'd have absolutely flown, I think, at Sunderland, Gelhardt. I really do. Ross Stewart's quality. He's absolutely quality. He's a real top striker. But I just don't think we'd pay the money. Go on then, Pete. Let us know what you want me to say. Pete, let us know in the comment section what you think. What you think, Matt. Let us know. How many points are we going to win the league by? 40? 50? Let us know, Matt. Listen, I was overwhelmed with the signing of Ampadu. And this is what people forget. Some people just dip into this channel every now and again. I was positive. But I'm also a realist. That's not a cynic or someone who's overly negative. I'm a realist. And for me, if you don't bring in certain profiles to this side right now, with the depth that we have, the depth, by the way, which is children, absolute children, some of them haven't even made a first senior appearance before in their careers for the first team. I think that is a level of delusion that you think that we're going to go up. I think the score, because we were all on this mantra earlier on when the season ended that we needed a certain amount of personnel. We needed a certain manager and a certain amount of personnel to fit his style of play. We all wanted a possession-based manager. So what we all wanted. Farke'S started getting rumours. People wanted a left back. They wanted creative midfielders. They wanted a central attacking midfielder, which Daniel Farke simply has to have for any system of his to work. Buendia was the staple in his entire team for that Norwich side ticking. And then they had a ruthless striker in Pukki, who was just his shot to goal ratio was unbelievable. So what a lot of people are doing is they're basing this Leeds side on that Norwich side when we don't have the profiles that mirror that Norwich side whatsoever at the minute. That's the problem. And that's where I think some fans are a little bit further away than they need to be. This is going to be for me, this is going to be a long churn. It's going to be a long churn. Yeah. And maybe Farke'S thought that as well. Jack, £17 million release clause. You're so vain to call yourself a realist. Deal with it. No, I like Ampadu, mate. I like Ampadu. I think Ampadu's going to be a really good player for us. I think he's going to be a top player for us. And this is the thing. I think he's everything. Listen, I've said before as well, I think he's got a higher ceiling than Tyler Adams. I do. I think Ampadu's going to be and he's a really good addition, but we need more. We need more. And I don't think this isn't me saying we need Premier League style signings. I mean, that'd be nice. But this is just me saying that this squad needs a fresh oomph of players. It needs... we need a left back. We need a central midfielder. We need a striker who can score goals. Rutter's not a centre forward. So people who were moaning about Bamford last year, are we okay now starting with Patrick Bamford up front? Because our top scorer from last year's gone. So that's sort of 3. We need a goalkeeper. That's 4. Would you like a centre back, or are you okay on that right hand side, starting with just Cresswell and Ayling? Yeah, these aren't the. I sort of on here try to react to what people say as well, and these were all the concerns I was seeing in the chat. But now suddenly, because we're not hearing anything, it's fine with the side that we've got. That's where I'm a little bit confused. Yeah, Connor, make an FPL league, fella. Yeah, I don't know for FPLs. Can we do those? Well, Pete, I hope you're right, buddy. I hope you're right, buddy, and I appreciate your comment. I hope you're right. Yeah, Jay. Yeah, fully on board with that, mate. I think we do as well. Nah, Jay. Nah, I love what Dele Alli, represented in that interview. I think he's got a long way to go to get back to what he was. What's he had out the game now, realistically, from those Tottenham days? What, 3-4 years? It's a long, long time to get back. And yeah, mentally he might be back in the game, but he's got to be able to do it on the pitch. I think it's a bit of a risk. And would we be expected to pay for his loan as well? All of it? I think it would be a bit of a risk. Dr. Wallace says, we've been in an abusive relationship with our owners. Yeah, that's one way to put it, mate. So, of course, we're panicking, expecting more of the same, but maybe judge at the end of the week. Yeah, 100%, Dr. Wallace. 100%. Yeah, and this is it. The Ampadu signing came out of nowhere, didn't it? So that's a positive. I guess it's got to a point now with a lot of fans where, because the weeks are going on, and we've got now 12 days left, I think it's got to a point now where fans, understandably, are a little bit panicky with what's going on. We have 12 days, in a lot of people's opinions, to get 4 or 5 different players in. And I'm not saying we have to get these players in at the start of the season, but if we are to get points early on with the winnable fixtures that we have, we need to have the right signings in place. We do. We might go and blow Cardiff away. And I'll be literally screaming from the rooftops if we do so, because I'm going to be a fan rejuvenated in 12 days' time. I'm going to be screaming again, shouting again, even though I need more time away with my yerba mate and a holiday maybe away from Leeds United. I'll be cheering the boys on with everything I've got. But you do worry a little bit. You do worry a little bit that they're going to... I think it's fragmented. That word has been uttered by a lot of Leeds United correspondents / journalists in the last couple of days when they've been watching Leeds. Fragmented, which is a little bit worrisome going into the start of the new season in terms of just, is the puzzle quite right? And I don't think it is. Yeah. They've got a lot to do in a week if this is the case. You're probably looking at, hopefully, sort of in the realistically in the next 12 days, maybe 4 signings coming in. Can we see that happening? Is that what he said? Is that what he said, Mr. Anthrope? Said it for ages that his eventual position, he's not a winger. I think if you actually to say one of them who's better on the turn in those little pockets, I'd probably choose Nonto in the pocket, just with his low centre of gravity as well, how quick he is on the turn. If you to give me one of them in that position, it would be Nonto, but they're very different. When I look at Buendia, I think of Pablo Hernandez. Buendia had a bit more of explosiveness about him. I think Hernandez had a little bit more guile, so they're different in that respect, but they're similar in terms of that cam profile, you know, the low centre of gravity, being able to just, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys saw Buendia, I think it was either yesterday or the day before when Newcastle drew to Villa 3-3 in the States on the tour we should have been at, but he was just unbelievable, just ran the game, and that's what Pablo used to do. When I'm talking about a cam, that is the player that we need. A central attacking midfielder, someone like Elias Chair. You know, you want to bring it to the Premier League and it's players like, you know, David Silva. And we're obviously not going to get, people will take that literally. Don't take it literally. I'm saying you can get quality in that position in the Championship. You know, sort of conductor. And I think that's what someone, if we are going to stick with Patrick Bamford, that's what someone like Patrick Bamford needs, because without Pablo Hernandez, in my opinion, Patrick Bamford probably doesn't touch 10 goals that season we go up. Eight goals. You know, a centre forward needs a proper central attacking midfielder, in my opinion, to be able to reach the dizzy heights. Another good question, Gail. Another good question. That's where depth comes in. Thanks for your donation, Keenan. Do you think they're waiting on Prem clubs to decide who they want in their squad so we can go hard on loans and rejects like Ampadu, maybe Palmer? Keenan, I can tell you for a fact, Palmer. Well, to be fair, actually, Pep's reversed on Palmer. He said he wasn't going anywhere at the end of the season. Now he said that he might go on loan. I think you're probably going to get maybe a Burnley going in for him if you look at the company link there. I think that would be an obvious one. Obviously, they've just lost Nathan Teller, haven't they, to Southampton, the parent club. So maybe they'll be looking at wingers like Palmer, who knows. So, potentially, potentially. But I guess you're still seeing the likes of, you know, West Ham moving for Carlos Borges. You're seeing Callum Doyle going to Leicester. West Ham going in for Carlos Borges. You're seeing Callum Doyle going to Leicester. You know, I think clubs are moving early. I think they are moving early. And I think, you know, maybe that is what's happening. Maybe that is what's happening. Maybe you're right. But how long do we wait? You know, how long do we wait? How long do we wait to take the plunge? I guess this was the problem before as well, wasn't it? Hannah says, being late to bring players in is worrying. Championship is such a tough league. We know we need to get points on the board from the get-go, like a circuit leads. I'm worried personally. Yeah, I just think a slow start with this side at the minute, with how battered they've been mentally over the past 2 years when they've had 16 wins in 2 years. This is why I'm talking about rejuvenation or regeneration when it comes to players coming in and fresh impetus. Daniel Farke, fantastic. Nick Hammond, fantastic. You know, this restructure, which just seemed to be people moving up and people moving down with Nick Hammond and Steinson, which was a bit of an odd structural change. Yeah, structural change, like, you know, for example, at my job, you get structural change and it's like 6 to 8 people moving in and moving out. Like Leeds' structural change with just people getting promoted, and it's very odd. But anyway, so all these things are good, like, and the 49ers obviously coming in, Parag Marate having his interview and stuff, and us being aggressive in the transfer window. You do wonder how much he understood about these loan clauses, but he was within the club for 4 years, so you'd expect him to understand that side of things. So has he prepped aside from that? You'd hope so. But then from Farke'S comments after the last game, when they said this is a bit of an inconvenience, I'm paraphrasing, but it's an inconvenience that the players are going out on loans, Farke didn't really know about it. So it's all a bit disconnected at the minute, I feel. And can it be connected in 12 days' time? I think it would be massively helped by some new signings. I really do. You know, Cardiff coming to Leeds, and they're not this unbelievable outfit who are going to, you know, there's a lot of teams like Cardiff in the Championship, aren't there? The teams that Leeds should be looking at beating at home on the first day. And you want to start the season with a bang. You know, you need to start the season with a bang. That mentality has to switch. They need to start winning games. Like this group of players hasn't been winning games for a long period of time, and who's come in to be those fresh faces, it's Ampadu and Sam Byram. So for me, a lot of it's mentality. Maybe it's because I played football at a half decent level. And, when fresh faces do come in, mentality is switched up. You have a little bit of self-belief again. You have the boost that someone like Ethan Ampadu will have brought to that team is massive, but they need more of those in different positions to be able to aid the players who maybe aren't as good up here and downstairs as well. Yeah, it has been quiet around Harrison, hasn't it? It has been really quiet around Harrison. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say about that, mate. I've got no inside scoop on that one. But yeah, it has been, hasn't it? Hilarious. It'll all change after a few new signings in the next week. Of course it will. Yeah, of course it will. Thank you for that insight there, Chemical Echo, that none of us knew on here. Of course it will. That's the point. If they can make 3 or 4 new signings in the next 12 days, is what everybody's saying in the chat. Everybody understands that. A bunch of intelligent people here who understands that with new signings, fresh impetus, of course it'll be different. I mean, that is the most obvious comment I think I've seen so far. Of course it will be, but can we make those signings can they be the right signings, and can they be in the right time frame? Of course. That's true, Gail. A good start is an essential, would be preferable, but Farke'S started poorly the year Norwich won the Championship and Bielsa season. I think we need to relax. That is true, Pat. That is true. Yep, fair enough. They are indeed. Thanks for the donation, Daniel. Where do you see Ampadu playing this season? Centre mid, mate. I see him centre mid. Yep, I see him playing centre midfield. Yeah, Harrison is injured. We know. Well, that's another thing, isn't it? We know Adams and we know Harrison are going to be out for the start of the season. So the depth in midfield is, as of right now, and this is what we're talking in absolutes right now. As of right now, it's going to be presumably Ampadu and JB starting in centre midfield against Cardiff, which it looks like it's maybe going to be a lot of experience, especially when you look at the likes of Aaron Ramsey, who's going to be starting against Leeds, against a lot of youth. So yeah. Hey Tom. It's all about thinking, mate. I think when I'm looking at Liam Cooper, I'm looking at that season we got promoted. When I'm looking at a lot of the centre-backs, I'm looking at the season we got promoted. And I'm looking at the loan addition we made late on in the window, late on in the window anyway, in Ben White. Without Ben White, Leeds don't go up. In my opinion, we don't go up. So his influence was that huge in that Leeds United side. He could defend, he could maraud forward. He's literally the perfect defender when it came on, and you can see that now when he's with Arteta, but he almost the perfect Pep Guardiola-esque midfielder. Bringing the ball out from the back. Revolutionary in the Championship. A brilliant signing. Do I think we'll get as good as Ben White when we're looking at the loan market right now? I don't, but a Cooper, a Strauch even, a Cresswell in particular, and probably a Yelder need, in my opinion, a right-sided centre-back to come in who is a quality player. You know, if we're going to stick with a lot of this back line, there needs to be a quality influence who's dependable, reliable, like Ben White was for nigh on 46 games in that season, who can come in and influence the entire back line with his quality. Because we know he wasn't a leader, wasn't much of a talker, wasn't much of an influence, he was only young. But with how good he was, you got to think, of course, Cooper got promoted. Of course, Ayling got promoted. Alioski, all those players, fantastic. You know, they'll be etched in Leeds United's historical books for years to come, of course. But Ben White was the difference. And we all know he was the difference. Wasn't like, he's now when we're looking at Alioski and all the sentiment and Captain Coops, he's still here. And Ayling, everyone, you know, people love him, of course, you know, for what he's done. But Ben White was everything that year from the back line. That's subjective. That's my opinion. I think without Ben White, we don't go up. So I think a lot of these players in this back line, a lot of them who are still there from that season, by the way, and are older, naturally, they could come into their own. But the consistency that Ben White brought, the quality that he brought, I think that influence is still needed in a team like now. I still think that is needed. Hello, Abel. Hope you're all right. Yeah, top player, mate. Top player. Imagine if we did it, eh? You'd replace all the money on Koch, Llorente, Verba, wouldn't you? I think there was more politics going on there, to be fair. West Yorkshire Retro Gamer says, what's your thoughts on Byram? I feel like I've answered the Taylor side of things, mate. 1,000,001 times if you're not a regular on the channel. All my subscribers here will tell you my thoughts on Charlie Taylor and his exit from Leeds. Byram, I don't know if was it rotten? I don't remember it being rotten. Maybe I just didn't care enough. Not about Leeds, obviously, but Byram, I don't really think I had any link with Sam Byram whatsoever. Just in terms of anything, really. I didn't think he was a good player. I didn't think he was a good player. I thought he was all right. I thought we got a decent amount for him. I thought we'd, marketed him in a sense, by just replaying that chip he scored against Oxford and a good performance he put in against Spurs in the Cup. Just replayed that 1,000,001 times and clubs maybe lapped it up a little bit. And obviously with him being young, that helped, and obviously he had family down in London, didn't he, with the West Ham link. But yeah, I didn't really think Byram's was rough. Taylor's was rough, but it was a lot of it was just bollocks. But it's what it is. Yeah, Gary Monk, the truth pipe, apparently. Oh dear. It's all fun and games, isn't it? Evening, Connor. How you, Kyle? Was up on him, but when I continue to watch Charlie Cresswell, I'm a little bit like, is he a upgrade on Cresswell? Listen, it's fine. It's another centre-back, of course. But he's just the exact same as Cresswell. The exact same. So would you want a different profile in there is what I'm saying. We're talking about Reece Oxford, weren't we? That profile of player that gets the ball, marauders out from the back, very good at distributing the ball. Excellent back in the day. Still young. The big thing is his fitness, isn't it? But yeah, that's someone who I'd much prefer. Nat Phillips is just like cement, head it, Yeah, I don't know. I'd prefer someone who's a little bit better on the ball, a bit more adventurous. Thanks for your donation, Magnus. Jammy as well. Good to see you, Connor. Thanks for your content. Thanks, mate. Really appreciate that. Your preferred 11 right now from what we have. Fucking hell. Sorry, my language. There's absolutely no need for that, Connor. I try refrain from swearing on here. I apologise for my Neanderthal behaviour there. I'd go with Melee Net, because we've got no other options. Melee or me. I could go in net. How about that? Sign the Torino keeper in net. I'd come. Why not? Put me in net. Left back. Yelder. Centre back. Left centre back. Strauch. Right centre back. God. Right centre back. Maybe we just have to have two left-footers at centre back. Strauch and Cooper, which I think is a recipe for disaster. Or you put Cresswell in there on the right side where he's a bit more natural. Right back Drame, but you look at the age of that back line. You know, if you're putting Cresswell in there, ability-wise, and you're putting Cresswell in there with Strauch. So you got Yelder, Strauch, Cresswell, and Drame as your back line with Melier. I mean, it's literally children, isn't it? That's what I mean with enforcements. Central defensive midfield, Ampadu, JB, probably, if Adams is out. Obviously, the three in front. Harrison's out, isn't he? So you're probably looking at Nonto. We haven't got a cam. Archie Gray's not a cam. And would I start Archie Gray at the minute? Probably not. Never started a senior game in the first team in a league game. So yeah, I don't know. Nonto, Somerville, or Somerville, Nonto, Sinistera, and Bamford. So yeah, probably what I'd go for. I mean, that's it, Dan, isn't it? Like, not inspiring, is it? It's not inspiring. It's not. This is what I mean. It's not like, you know, when you're looking at, even though I wasn't a fan of Alioski, and you guys know that, and he was a left winger, even though he couldn't finish. Well, he could finish, but you know what I mean. Amount of shots he took. But Alioski was a standard left back, wasn't he? Yelder, actually think he's a better player than him. But Young, has he got enough, like, sort of, I use this word a lot, but guile about him like Alioski did? Probably not. Cooper in there. I mean, Cooper and Ayling is a centre back. This is what I mean. You know, when you go through the team, you realise how many profiles are missing. And this is what I've been trying to say. It's actually a really good exercise, just going through the team and thinking, ooh, yeah. And then you mention a Ben White. You mention when we get up, when we had the impact of Nketiah. You had an absolute prime Matthias Klick who was flying at the time. Pablo Hernandez in that side. And a lot of people, including myself, were saying that side's weak. It doesn't. Oh, we're missing a bloody left back because we were at the time. Why didn't we sign O'Brien in January? And I was saying we need reinforcements. We need reinforcements. I still thought that at the time, but thanks to Bielsa's wizardry, which I'm trying to drink up right now, and obviously the players, we were able to get through, weren't we? But yeah, I mean, that side, in my opinion, we still needed reinforcements in certain areas. This side right now. All I'm saying is, don't be hounding out on Daniel Farke if it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go at the start. That's all I'm saying, because it won't be his fault. If they're all fit. West Yorkshire Retro Gamer, where do you think we'll finish? That's my question to you with that. Right now. He's in my car, and I'm driving him to Harrogate Town, and he's starting on the bench for him next week. I don't know. I've not heard anything from him. I've not heard anything from them, to be fair. Cheers, Sean. Yeah, it's a nice one. One of my prized pieces. Even though, Sean, everyone keeps saying it's red. It is not red. It's burgundy, everybody. So stop hating on the Torino colours. I don't own red, because I'm like every one of you who anything in red in my life I can't have. That's gone quiet, hasn't it, Caleb? It's gone quiet. Yeah, it's gone quiet, that one. But could be happening in the background, mate. Hisham, what choice does he have, mate? You know, what choice does he have? Yeah. He can't go out and get the players himself. He needs money. He needs backing. He needs certain individuals not to stay when they've committed to Leeds. Listen, I understand with Berber. Of course, I do. He's a footballer. I'm not naive to understand and to grasp that footballers put money ahead of anything, and opportunities. Borussia Mönchengladbach, for goodness sake. But it's just a bit irritating when Leeds have almost made it, for whatever reason Leeds have done this, but they made him almost the poster boy for the kit. Apparently he was going on the side of the stadium. That was the plan, and he was going to be almost the leader from the back, and he was one of the big coups. We're going to keep hold of Adams, we're going to try keep hold of Harrison and Verber, and within 10 days, and after he'd come out and said this, that, and the other about him wanting to stay, it's a bit disappointing to hear 3 days after those comments that he's leaving to Mönchengladbach. But this is the thing. Let's not all think that we are safe from bids, which maybe some are. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Really appreciate all of your comments, and yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been going on for about 46 minutes. As I say, you want to join the Patreon, bit of bonus content, fantabby-dozy. Really enjoyed you guys being here. It's been, listen, I do love these streams. It provokes thoughts from me. I hope it provokes thoughts with you guys as well. A bit of an interactive thing. Listen, I apologise if I've not read all of your comments out. It's mental. There's been 1,200 of you here. Please like the video before leaving. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Leeds Fan Channel. If you want some bonus content, head on over to the Patreon. I'd like to say a quick shout out to Tracy, Ben, and Spen8, who have joined the Classy 1 Leadsers the other day. And guys, without any further ado, I will see you tomorrow for your daily update. Catch you in a bit. Cheers.